domestic travel. Or likewise, if somebody, let's say, were to fly me out to Beijing, and then from Beijing fly United Airlines back to San Francisco or Chicago or anywhere else. So the office was set up here in 2005. It came several times, like as I said, 2003 and 4 and 5. Set up the United Airlines office to facilitate United Airlines selling its ticket stock here in the country. And from then, I got to know the country, I got to know the people, I got to know how business was done here, because Mongolia was my responsibility for 3+ years. And then when I had the opportunity to come here in 2008, with everything going on in the country in general in terms of the economic growth, I thought it was a great chance.
Is United Air office still here?
Yes, the United Airlines representative office is Air Trans. Air Trans is the representative for United Airlines still here, so that relationship still continues to this day.
Okay, with the Isnes being one of only 2 commercial passenger airlines, right, in the country, private, including me at 3, right? How do you see the situation today of your business?
Well, on the good side, our business is growing, partly because the country is growing as a whole. In terms of, just in the last 2 years that I've been here, let alone what I remember Ulaanbaatar being like in 2005, let alone 2003, my first trip, I think we can all see as well as experience the growth that's taking place. Basically being driven by the mining industry and then all the supply, the logistics, they go hand in hand in terms of facilitating their needs at the mining sites. So I think as whether it be at hotels, be it restaurants, be it shops, same thing for the airlines. There are generally more and more people traveling, driven by the mining companies, driven by also what I see in the tourism side as well too. Because Mongolia has such a unique tourist destination to offer to anyone in Asia. Whereas, at some point after you've been to Tokyo, Singapore, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Beijing, these cities all tend to offer the sort of same things. Excellent restaurants, shopping, nice hotels, things like that, but it's always in a metropolitan environment. Mongolia offers something unique in terms of the countryside, just the vast open spaces, which most cities in the world don't have. So my analogy is just like what the Rocky Mountains are in North America, be it Banff in Canada or the Colorado Rockies where people go with skiing, people go for the hiking, people go for the fresh air, the outdoor aspect. That's what Mongolia has to offer, and as more and more people, especially in the surrounding countries of Korea, Japan, and China start coming, I think there's a big opportunity with tourism. And likewise, I think there will be more Europeans, North Americans, and Australians coming as well too.
So in that sense, let's talk about will the business will be flying abroad from here?
So we do have 2 international destinations. We fly to Hailar in Inner Mongolia in China, and we also fly to Ulaanbaatar in Buryatia in Russia.
How many times a week to Ulaanbaatar?
So currently both those destinations are 2 times a week, but with the coming of the winter schedule effective October 31, we'll be increasing the frequencies to 3 times a week, both to Hailar and to Ulaanbaatar.
Why the winter you increase?
So twofold. In the summer, we have 4 aircraft right now. We have 4 Saab 340 aircraft, 34 seats. In the summer, the planes are fully allocated because of the sheer number of tourism, the sheer volumes of tourists coming. The planes are allocated to facilitate the needs of the tour operators and the tourists that are coming to the country. Now, as the numbers of tourists are going down, we have more free available aircraft space.
That means you have more passenger in winter on those directions, on the roads?
No, so we have more aircraft time to allocate, and we also think there'll be more passengers on those flights because, again, of the winter, be it the short days, the bad weather, the cold, the wind, driving is a less preferred option in the winter than it is in the summer. So because we have the planes to allocate to those routes, and because we believe there will be an uptick in terms of local traffic, we believe there's enough demand out there to...
Maybe more business activities grow up?
That could definitely be as well as too. We really think that both these flights, with Hailar, what we're doing is we have 2 flights via Tribal-Sum. This 3rd flight will be a non-stop, directly from Hailar to Ulaanbaatar.
Okay. Which passengers is more, through Choir or direct? Which will have more passengers?
It depends. It's kind of hard because no one's ever flown this route, so we don't really know for the first year.
To start this.
Yeah.
Speaking about the flights inside of the country, like Choir, right? How many IMAX you fly already?
So currently, I should know this, I believe we fly to 13 destinations right now, counting
There
the
was
tour 14.
large-scale complaints about the price. It's too expensive, and one of the reasons of why Mongol National Airlines, MIAT, had abandoned the domestic flight was because they had the price limit, and eventually the domestic flight was not usable anymore, not profitable. So you are sort of replacing that missing part, right? And what is in terms of price? Is it, do you free to charge whatever you like, or you have certain limit or other limiting factors?
So in today's environment, there are no limitations in terms of what fares we can charge. The fares that we do charge are indicative of the demand for those markets. So we have different fare types, even to the same market, let's say to Dalanzagad. You know, not everyone will pay the same fare. A business person who buys the ticket at the last moment and definitely needs to be there for their business activities with the mining sites will pay a much, much higher fare than somebody who buys the fare 10 days in advance.
I see.
So there's different fare types out there depending on each market segment, be it a local passenger, a business passenger, or a tour passenger.
What is the most busiest route in Mongolia in between Ulaanbaatar and any other IMAC?
So right now, because of everything that's going on, it really is Dalanzagad for twofold, because some of the larger mining projects are happening down in the Gobi. And even though Easin Airways does fly and facilitate the needs of the mining companies with charter flights that go directly to their mining site, there still is enough demand that they have from other suppliers, vendors, contractors, consultants that take our scheduled services down there at a year-round basis. Also, with tourism, again, between Murun and Dalanzagad, most of the foreigners that come here, most of the international visitors, usually either want to go to Lake Hufskol up in Murun or down to the Gobi and see the desert.
So
or
this
sometimes
triangle
to the
is
west.
served by you?
No, we don't do the triangle flight. Unfortunately, the way the schedule's always been up to now, if you want to see, let's say, Murun.
Why you would not in summertime?
We will do that next year because, as I said, currently this year we have 4 Saab aircraft. The 4 planes were fully allocated. We just did not have the time to do that.
So you will increase the park next year?
We will acquire more aircraft for next year, and also we'll facilitate that. And the other thing, too, keep in mind, it's kind of hard for most people to understand this, that even though we'll start next year, we'll have triangle flights, where an individual can start an Ulama tour, fly to Murun, spend 2, 3, 4 days there, and then fly from Murun directly to Dalanzagad, and then back. Now, we're doing that for the first time. Right now, all the tour operators, the Mongolian tour operators here have partners in North America, in Australia, in Korea, in Western Europe. Those partners are now putting and selling these packages now. And it's like these things have to be done 6, 7 months in advance in order to facilitate the needs of people coming here next summer. So that's why next year
It was
will be
always
the
the
first time.
case for the last 20 years, but it was also the case always the Mongolian Airlines was canceling the flight just before the tourists come. So is this problem solved in the country?
I didn't hear, they were consolidating the flights or canceling the flights?
No, either domestic flights were always cancelled, many times cancelled by Mongolian Airlines at their own time when they had a flight.
No, so Easin Airways has a schedule, and at times we do change the schedule. Now, schedule changes happen for 3 reasons. Weather, which we cannot control. Mechanical reasons, which again for passenger safety, if we do have mechanical, we will err on the side of caution, keep the plane on the ground to make sure that our maintenance and engineers can fix that plane. And then the third reason why there may be a schedule change, be it a cancellation or a time change, may be for commercial reasons. And when that happens, what we've done this year is, because we'll have many cases where a mining company, a government, parliament member, someone will need a plane for a special purpose, a charter flight. Our planes are fully allocated, but we will facilitate that need because the customer, the client, pays a lot of money for that. At the same time, though, we recognize that if we have a plane going to Dalanzagad at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but now we're changing it such that the flight time is 6 p.m., that disservices the people, the passengers, and the scheduled aircraft. So our policy internal is that if we have any sort of schedule change or cancellation, anything like that, we do it 72 hours in advance to give enough notice to the scheduled passenger, And likewise, we do give compensation as well, too.
I say, how many do Mongolian passengers keep increase or keep going? The passenger load factor.
It keeps
Does
on
it grow
increasing.
or decrease?
So what we've seen this year is both for the local passenger sales and for passengers coming in from overseas markets, both are growing. So there's a lot more people traveling domestically within the country. And when I say local passengers, I mean Mongolians and foreigners who live here on a permanent basis. That market is growing significantly. And likewise, foreigners who are coming here, be it for business, be it for leisure, that segment is also increasing as well, too.
In terms of competition, do you feel any competition?
There's always competition, and competition is good because competition increases creativity and provides more options to the passenger, and likewise it forces you as an airline, as a company, to offer better service, a better product, and to innovate. So yes, there is competition domestically, as we had said before.
Will it be reflected in your price? Will
yes.
it be a price competition or not?
Well, to answer that question, yes and no. So the best example I can give you is to Choibalsam. You know, we were flying that 4 times a week. Air Mongolia was also flying that 2 times a week. The fare that Air Mongolia offered was cheaper than Easiness Airways, significantly cheaper. And Choibalsam is not a tourist market. We don't sell tickets. It's really a local market. So our fare, because of where we're at in terms of, you know, we are a private carrier. Newcom is the parent company of Easiness Airways. And part of the mandate from Newcom is that, you know, we will offer an airline. We will offer airline services to passengers, to customers, but we also need to do it on a profitable basis. We are not a Mongolian government-owned carrier. We can't provide this as a social service. So our airfares are what they are, reflected in terms of what the demand is in the market, but also what we need to do in order to cover costs.
Yes.
So to answer your question again directly, to Choibalsam is the best example I can offer you, in that Air Mongolia did have a significantly lower fare than we did, but yet we are still currently flying that market, and Air Mongolia isn't. And part of it, I think, had to do with passengers seeing the value. You know, it's not necessarily just about the lowest fare, because we had more frequencies, because our schedule is a lot more committed in terms of keeping, you know, 4 days a week. We're operating Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. In terms of if there were any schedule changes made, we do provide customer service in terms of contacting the passenger and informing them that your flight that was scheduled at 2 o'clock is now at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
If we ever did a cancellation of thing, we do offer compensation, even though the passenger can change. So it's not just the price that you're paying. People also, and when I say people, it means the Mongolian passenger.
Do you feel competition with Miat?
No, we don't feel competition with him, because Miat is flying internationally. We're flying domestically.
No, they were flying once in between Hovd and Ulaanbaatar.